everyone. If you're catching the replay, welcome. I'm Steve. It's Mark around. Mark! He's outside. And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Welcome or welcome back, and happy... What the hell day is it? Tuesday? It's Tuesday. I had a short day at work today. I had a few errands to run in not too long, but I was keeping up with our fair lady Chantal, Marie, Foodie Beauty, big beautiful me, Daily Chantal Chantopoulos, and she was a little agitated yesterday. A little agitated. She was going on quite the rant, I would say. So I thought I would just check in and say hello and have a snack or so while I clear my thoughts about this or see what I think about this. So I have bran flakes with blueberries in them, almond milk, probably too much almond milk actually, and a cup of decaf Earl Grey tea. Hello, hello. And my vision is jacked up today. I apologize. So I know I usually have the glare and I try to avoid it, but I don't think so. So Susie, hello. Hello. We're just getting the day started, it feels like. I did have work from home today, and then I ended early because I have to run a few errands. So I took a little bit of the afternoon off. It's election day, so I did my duty. I did vote. So, you know, we'll see where that leads us. I live in Pennsylvania. It's kind of purpley as far as states go. So we'll see. I forgot those blueberries were frozen. I can see through time. That hurts like a bitch. So, hello, hello. Jazz hands, hello. So, the not so bombshell that came out, I want to say day before yesterday. Was it earlier in the day yesterday? No, it's not today. Anyway, aside from the not newness of the fact that she's still bald and still heavy, and none of that has changed. She's had some really unflattering angles as of late, especially since she got home. Hey, Annie. So, you know, she's getting back into her life as a Western woman. I can see it, but I know she's thinking about putting the hijab back on. Especially, I know people were wondering, where was she? Where was she? Guesses included returning the cat. On the far end, she's at the airport. You know, she was hell-bent on being back in Canada for Halloween and all that stuff, and she was. And I can appreciate when you break up with someone sometimes. You get the rose-colored glasses on. All of a sudden, in your memory, you whitewash everything that was bad, everything that you complained about, everything you bitched about, because the nice memories stick out. Now, I can't see how that happened with Natter exactly. There weren't too many of those. But she had an alleged marriage going, you know? I've got the feeling too, Janet. Chantal has thrown away more for less for more. The last time she had an apartment, we went through all these same motions. I bought stuff, I got a cat, and then next thing you know, she's back. So, unless she's trying to pit one man against another, I guess. She said that Natter had sent her an email. I can't remember outside of a work situation the last time I sent an email, but there was communication there, and I'm sure that was not all of it. And I don't think Salah's expecting her to come home. Home being Syria. It's still a better option. He can provide for her better in Syria than she can provide for him in Canada. Easily. In Canada, he's going to be under a fucking microscope if he makes his way over here. So, I don't think his aunts and the people in waiting who kind of steer his directions and probably read Chantal like a book really quickly and were nice for nice sake but hated her guts. But that's not kind. So, he has them in his corner. So I don't think, you know, I don't know. In my head, they're upstanding people and he's a moron and she's, you know, vicious. So they try to protect him from her taking advantage of it. He insists, you know, he's doing the right thing probably. So, Joan, hello, Mike, hello. Yeah, I would say, I don't think Salah and Chantal deserve each other. I think Chantal and Nader deserve each other. Nader. I can't they're both willing to go the same place to show their passion about a certain cause. They're willing to take things to the X factor. And by the way, not to tie this in or anything, but during this live where she was freaking out about Kiwi Farms and she was complaining about other stuff too, she said that she was mad at reactors and other people for sending information, for playing with the police and doing that stuff, because they're wasting emergency resources on stupid things. This from the woman who forged police reports and then took them back later, who called police to come to her place, no, her car, to Natter's place to get her CPAP machine, her medical device that she needed. And then she sat in her chat, stared at it until she provoked somebody into calling the police. And she told him through the phone, I know somebody's going to call. You might as well just go. They deserve each other. Solid might not be beyond redemption. I think he's dumber than he is mean. And that makes it somehow better in my head. I don't know. I'll forgive a fumbling idiot more than I would a calculated, shiny, well, of course, greasy more than shiny, but you get that, you know what I mean. But the rant she went on and the length she went to try to make herself a victim. What's unfortunate is that none of these observations are really new. It's just the year is different, the location's different, but not much else. Not much else has changed. She's still her. And the fact that those 3 years didn't even happen to her, like gone, out of sight, out of mind. The only way she'd be back in Syria is if now that she's had her fill of fast food and driving and all that fun stuff, that she's going to miss the being kept, that she was part of a person, she was part of a family. Now, they're not divorced, apparently, because he didn't return the marriage papers. He hasn't turned them in because it didn't exist. That's the thing. She keeps saying he didn't turn them in. I always thought, I don't know shit, but I always thought they had some kind of religious marriage that wasn't necessarily a full-on legal thing. Now, I know it's religion and law overlap and fall over each other there sometimes, but it seems like I can't believe he would have. I think if one of them was scamming, the marriage would have happened, but I think maybe they were married in the eyes of Allah, but not fully on the laws of the land they were living in, so not of Kuwait. Can they even go back to Kuwait if they have to do anything? Are they going to get stopped at the border coming in? As far as I knew, she burned so many bridges in Kuwait that they didn't want them there anymore. Common law? I don't know. Him not turning them in. Something happens, who really did it. Yeah, these people. She wants to go back. She's having rose-colored glasses. Oh, I missed them. They were so nice. If anything happens to me, it's them. Them! And him! Him! Just wait. Just wait. I thought that was I really thought it was interesting that when they were seeing her off at the airport, everybody came. They were all, it was like a big baby's day out. We're going to the airport to drop off 400-pound bag of trash. So, here goes. The panhandling continues, of course. Underneath everything, there's the panhandling going on. And the straight begging, which she has a lot of effing attitude for someone who begs. Reaction channels, maybe it's not the most noble work to focus on one channel, one individual, and devote a ton of time and critique to it. Maybe that's not noble work, but it's work. It's not just begging for money. It's different. Just because you're not a bitch doesn't mean you're not groveling. And then, depending on whose perspective, you're doing a little bit of both, which doesn't help. That's why you can sit in a live for 2 hours and you just get dollars sent to you from people that want to say bad things to you. It's, I don't know. I'm starting to feel, not sympathy, because over time I've felt less and less for her, but I can appreciate I'm alone again. I don't have an identity other than being part of a couple. So what is it? So she'll either be a grown-up and grow into living and being a middle-aged woman. She's my age. If not, no, she's like a year younger than me. And she can get into all that, or she's going to want to go back where she was a wife. And if there's anything on paper that she could hold over his head, we wouldn't know, but we would be able to tell, I think, by now. That's my guess. But what do I know? I was born here. Mark was born here. Check that out. So now the rage that she went into was interesting only because she brought up very specific examples that would let you know she's reading all the dirt about her, from Kiwi Farms to a couple other sites that used to be bigger and now they're not, to talk about her. And she doesn't see that as a reflection on her. You know, the people who run or who post to Kiwi's Farms may not be awful people in their day-to-day lives. They may just have strong feelings about certain behaviors, and Kiwi Farms is a forum to do that. People also like to play a game if they think someone's lying to them to try to find out the truth. So they share little images to each other and they sketch stuff. Would I be doing it? Probably not. But it beats begging, doesn't it? I mean, begging is the next step is just stealing, which people are pretty convinced that she's doing anyway. That she's pocketing the money for herself. First it was for Sasa, then a cat. She got hungry and hungrier, like a gambler, a dirty, like degenerate gambler, that every time it's more and more and more. And now it's a standing 3,500 for the scooter, and then any other miscellaneous drama she has. If she needs, the cat needs shots. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You just spent $800 on crap. And you can't, I don't know. The cat's too young. She's leaving the cat in a situation that I don't like. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth about me knowing cats. Mark is the cat dad, premier. At the top of his, when he was married to his last husband, they weren't married, they were just together 20 years. They had up to 13 cats at one point, and they weren't living in a mansion. So I never had a cat growing up, never had a pet. I thought I was allergic to them, and that's what mom said. So that's why we didn't have one. So it wasn't until I got older, my brother got a pet later, and then I did too. But I don't know as much about them or have as much experience. I know my two cats, but as far as anything else, I have to do research or take them to a pro. And more often than not, I would trust a professional and would err on the side of caution than just guessing, because I don't know. I would do my own research and best I could. I can't see them. I don't think she's ever lost a cat. Even though she's on her sixth, she didn't love them till the end of their life. She got those, she would have had BBJ when she was what, 20? She made it sound like BBJ was like Methuselah. It's like 1,000 years old, but not that old. And that cat was let go. And then the other cat was let go. And then we have Julia. And then a kitten that came and went in Syria. And then she got home for a little bit and was going to start a new life and got another cat, and then left and came back and got another cat. How do you, if you've had 6 cats in 3 years, none of them died, you just ended up finding yourself in situations where you'd have to get rid of them, don't get a new one. People who love animals wouldn't treat them that way. I'm not saying you love or hate or are deliberately hurting the animals, but locking it up in the bathroom, in its crate, with everything, like, I wouldn't know what to do with a kitten, so I'd ask people who knew. I wouldn't just shoot from the hip, because a regular cat is still vulnerable to a human, but a kitten is very vulnerable to everything. And I don't think she's mommy enough to be able to do it, even for an animal. She doesn't have it in her. With the other pets, she would just throw a handful of treats on the floor. She got indignant, as always. Her favorite question to start a fight: when have I ever treated any of my cats badly? Forgetting the ingrown claws, and essentially dumping them for a man. You know, some people think animals have feelings. Some people think animals feel loyalty. I don't know how they would have felt after 20 years saying, bye, I found a brown dick to ride, bye guys. And then get a cat there. And then get another cat, get a hamster, and then have to give one back so you can keep the other one. And then, you know, that hamster didn't live that long. They took it to bury it at the beach. I'm sure it was dead for a week at the time. Probably in the freezer next to her bag of shit. Mm-mm-mm. My. Now, how can I relate? I always try to humanize Chantal if I can. How can I relate? Do I have a similar experience? Do I think I might have had a similar experience? I remember ending a relationship with a guy. It's as real as her 3 years. We were together about 18 months. And I was very sad when we broke up. But we broke up, we just parted ways. There was no really hard feelings. And at first it was like, oh gosh, all the things, all those compromises that you make for a relationship, even though you don't mind making them because it's a relationship, you don't have to make anymore. So the first week after I got out of that, and I was with a guy who we didn't drink. I had pretended to quit smoking, if not really had quit. I was down to like a cigarette every 2 days. And I was so afraid he would hate me that I would, if I had a cigarette, wash my hands, scrub them down. They were red from bleeding because I'm afraid it would smell one on me and then it would interrupt our. Because if your relationship is so solid that it bends on that. But he was very strict with money too. He was very conservative and invited me to join in that conservative approach. So when we broke up, the first thing I did that night, I built a futon in my new apartment. I went out and I got a box of wine, a pack of Marlboro Reds, and to me it was like kicking up my heels. Now, mind you, I was 22. Yeah, I wasn't 43. It wasn't like throwing my hat in the air. Mary Tyler Moore, woman about, like, that wasn't what was happening. But at the time when I was younger, there was that initial excitement. Now, I have to tell you, though, within a few months, I started seeing the guy again. Why? I watched all those memories were gone. But beyond that, I also had a little bit of self-esteem. I was kind of like, we don't live together and we're not really dating, so what the fuck do I care what you think anyway? So I might as well smoke. I might as well do whatever I was going to do. But that became a turn in the relationship where, oh, good, I don't have to fake it. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to act a certain way out of fear of rejection or fear of, they're going to take the evidence that I have of love from them and they're going to hide it and they're going to take it away from me. So I understand breaking up and then getting back together or wanting to get back together with rose-colored glasses. But I have to say, I don't think Sal and her have, if there were any emotions, they're not going to be what's holding them together. They're, as much as any two roommates would be probably after 3 years, but I don't know. I'm just having tea, don't mind me. I either put lemon in here or I didn't wash the mug. Because it might be kind of ish. Now, her going off. Now, as far as kiwi farms go, I know not much about kiwi farms. Back in the day, there was a couple different websites. The one was called, not like forums. One was Gossip Bakery. There was another one that was similar. And depending on the size of the creator, they might have a page or 2 pages or 20 pages on it. Chantal has a lot of pages about her. And it's people sharing observations and thoughts. And sometimes, because of the forum, they're a bit more candid about their feelings. They're a bit more juicy with their language choices, which makes for good reading. And it's also fodder for discussion. I think this, I think that. It's not just a bunch of people that hate her sitting around writing she's fat in full text for 10,000 pages. Her weight is the least of her problems. How does that sound? It's the last thing she should be worrying about right now. It's everything else that's going to leave her sick and alone. I don't know. It just kind of pulls at me a little because I feel for her. I understand like the feelings, but she acts like such an asshole. The way her hurt feelings manifest makes you want to choke her. It makes you want to hurt her because she says hurtful words and you can't reach through the phone. And she's a documented hypocrite. It's well documented. Check out the 10,000 pages. It's not nothing. It's not 10,000 people making fun of her weight the whole time. There's disagreements within people who comment because one perceives something one way and one another. That's what they talk about. You're an entertainer. It's your words yourself. So if this is just entertainment, then there's no hard feelings, right? Now, if somebody came, to the house and, kind of a creepy weirdo stalker-ish type, yeah, I might feel some sort of way about that too. I could see that for how popular she is, if you want to use the word. she should not accept it necessarily because that's not right, but she should accept that it's part of the job, it's part of the gig. You know, real celebrities have like stalkers, but of course they have security. She has Pete's and a back scratcher. That's the security that she'll have. Assuming Pete's takes the bait and moves in. I'm still not sure if I believe he's there or not there, waiting on it. I get the feeling he's just waiting on it. Because last time she did this, she turned around in 2 weeks. That doesn't mean in 2 weeks and 3 days that she's reliable suddenly. It just means she didn't do it as fast as last time. Men always trump her relationships, family, pets, everything. The part of her that needs to demonstrate that she's loved is so deep. It is so much that her going back to Syria seems like something that could actually happen. Any other person in her situation, I would think, breakups are tough. Of course, it hurts, but you start to feel better and you go on. She just can't leave it alone. She can't let it go. And how does she know what he's doing right now? I'm sure she has her ways. He was in her chat, which is odd. As far as we find out they're not divorced, he's in the chat, making comments, deleting comments, blocking people. If he's nobody to you now, then why does he have access to the space? Is it owed to him? Is he purchasing it? It can't be because he really cares, because let's all be serious now. She had this fantasy, like a Lifetime movie, where the flighty fat girl gets the guy in the end. There was a movie called, I think, Baby Cakes or Sugar Baby, with Ricki Lake as the star. And she's a plus-size girl trying to seduce a man, and it's not a comedy because it's sad. She's trying to do this, and this guy really doesn't want anything to do with her. It reminds me of that I'll go to any length for you, but it's not out of devotion, it's out of desperation, She needs a man like she needs a cat. It doesn't matter if she got rid of one a week ago. She's going to get another one again. So this bran cereal is not very cozy for me. It keeps wanting to slide out the bottom of my mouth. Well, that and pumpkin seeds. If you watch the video where Mark made the pumpkin seeds, it's a similar experience. You have one, you bite one, and then it's entirely in your mouth. So that's all I have to share about her right now. There was not too much I had to approve of, I guess. To the extent that it's my business to say anything, I think the fact that she's been missing for a minute is telling. Where she's been, what she's doing is telling. It's not beyond her to try to create suspense and drama for the channel's sake, but she's also very impulsive and short-sighted. All she would have to see is one nasty comment, and she'd put up a community post and go on a tear because she wasn't done from what she had said yesterday. So, I don't know, something like that, perhaps. She may have taken the long road. Maybe she went to visit an old friend who they shared a baby G, and maybe just reconnecting there. Because, she's single, he's single. Now she's single enough to go out and talk to other guys, but she's not single enough to cut it loose with her husband. She's only as devoted as is serviceable at that time, and then is only as single as is serviceable. She got more subs. I mean, things went up. Views went up now that she's back. I don't know if that has any staying power exactly, because I was trying to watch the last numbers. She would start in the beginning of the Syria arc. The views initially were high, like on the first video, and then the first few videos. And then they just started to creep down a little bit. And as her attitude got more and more insufferable, people left. When people realized that they were being baited into what they thought was a travel channel, and it turned out to be this woman laying on her couch playing with her phone all day. It's her definition of a travel channel. It's her definition of travel. It means you get to see her in the airport and then at the hotel, sitting on that bed looking into her phone eating. You change the scenery, but not the situation. You could put her in prison. She'd lay sideways on her rack and smuggle a phone in between the folds and have it for personal use. She'd be one of those people that finds a way to stream from jail, even though you're not really having phones when you're incarcerated. But at least in the US, Canada, maybe they're more lenient. So I'm going to leave you guys there for today after another snack time. It was a short video, short live. So thank you guys for joining me. I have a couple of things I have to go do. Doctor's office. If you vote, vote today, please. Whatever state you're in, whatever candidate you believe in, participate in the process. And that's all. So thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All our contact information is listed below. We also have memberships available, $2.99 a month, and you join the Smoky Deck. It has member lives, member posts and pictures that come up. It's definitely a cool thing, so check it out if you feel so interested. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you soon. Bye. Say goodbye, Mark. He's on the porch still. Bye, guys.